Alright, so here we are, back again, cooking out here, doing some barbecue on the back deck. We'll be using the Pit Boss Austin XL again. If I haven't said already, which I know I have, I absolutely love this smoker. It's amazing. So we're gonna go ahead and get it fired up. I'm gonna go ahead and kick it to smoke, push the power button. We'll let that baby kick on and start rolling some good smoke. Then once it gets kicked up, you know, the fire's gone in there, I'll go ahead and kick it up to 350, burn off any excess that was left on from a previous cook, you know, clean up the grill a little bit. What we're going to be doing today is some beef short ribs. I know y'all seen me do some ribs before, some beef ribs, but these are like a more plate style rib, like what you'd see maybe in Texas barbecue shop or something like that. So that's what we're going to be doing today. Alright, so here we are. You see that baby's starting to roll some good smoke back there. So I think that fire's about built in it. We're about to get inside. I'm going to let you take a look at them beef ribs that we got about to go on here. It's going to be a good day today. Smoking and grilling. Alright, so here we are. We're about to get into that beef ribs that I've got. Go ahead and get that baby out of here. See what we're working with. So here it is. Got that big old, like I said, this is what we call a plate style rib. You know, that's the full plate. What I went ahead and did, I went ahead and seasoned it up last night. You know, I threw a little rub on there. The rub that I put on it is the Holy Cow and the Holy Gospel. Both of them are by Meat Church. I really like the rubs for beef. They work well. This is my first time mixing the two together, so we'll just kind of see what we'll come up with. Now on beef ribs, I always leave the membrane on the back. Pork ribs and stuff like that, I'll pull it off. But on beef ribs, I like to leave it on there because it helps to keep your bones inside the meat. You know, you don't want them to fall out. You want these ribs to just swell up, stay connected to the bone, but get a lot of smoke and get all swollen up. So, you know, we got them babies rubbed up. What I'm gonna do, I'm just gonna hit them with just a little bit more of the Holy Cow. Just to kind of get a little extra crust, because a lot of that rub kind of soaked into the meat overnight. So I just want to go ahead and throw on a little bit of extra crust on the top, you know. Alright, so there we got it. We got these beef ribs. About to get them out there, throw them on that Pit Boss Austin XL. If you haven't already, hit the subscribe button, punch the like button. We're going to be smoking some beef ribs today. Alright, so we went ahead and threw these beef ribs out here on the Pit Boss. I've got them over here on the far right side of my grill. Bone side down. We're running about 250 degrees, 275. We're going to let them smoke for about 5 or 6 hours. Alright, so these shorties have been out here for about 3 hours. This is the first time that I'm going to open the lid, kind of take a look at them, see what we've got going on. I can already tell you that these beef ribs are going to look spectacular. I mean, just from looking at the meat whenever I was doing it, I could tell that these are going to just look real good. So we're going to go ahead and pop the lid on this, take a look and see what's going on inside. Now you can see that bone starting to kind of show on these ribs. They're looking real good. We want a little more bone showing, so like I said, we're just gonna let it rock and roll. That's what they look like right now after 3 hours. They're looking pretty good. Alright, so we got to take a look at those ribs. Like I said, they're looking just how I want them to look. Meat's pulling off the bone a little bit, which is what we want to see. We want to be able to see about a ½ inch to maybe even an inch of bone in the end of these ribs whenever they're ready to rock and roll. So we're going to let them keep going. I think it likes about another maybe 2 to 3 hours. We'll start kind of checking the temps after that, but I'm gonna just let them rock and roll for now. This is what we're doing today: grilling and smoking, smoking and grilling. Stuff you can do in your backyard. Alright, so we got these beef ribs out here on the Pit Boss. They've been on here about 4.5 hours, maybe 5. But we're gonna go ahead and take a look at them, kind of see what we're looking at, see if that bone's pulling back off, see if that meat's pulling back off the bone. We're gonna kind of take a look and check for doneness right now. So we'll go ahead and take a look at these. Alright, so you can see that meat is really starting to pull back off the bone. You know, we're getting good bone showage here. So that tells me that everything's working the way it should. We're gonna go ahead and check for doneness. I really don't do a meat probe on my ribs. I just like to kind of check for doneness. Now you can tell right there that probe is just sliding through like butter. That tells me that they're done there. But we've got a little bit of resistance here in the back, so I don't think they're quite done yet. We might rotate them a little bit, you know, kind of let them get a little bit more smoke on the other end. But this is what we're doing right here: 4.5 hours on some beef ribs. They ain't done yet, but they're about to be. Alright, so here we are, back out here checking on these beef ribs. They've been on here for right about 6 hours. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to check for doneness on these things right now. I'm going to willing to bet that they're going to be done, but you know, I'm going to go ahead and check for doneness. Like I said, I don't use a probe really on my beef ribs to check for doneness, but I do use an old probe that don't work no more, and that's kind of the way that I check for doneness. So we're going to go ahead and take a look at these and see what it's like. Now basically what I'm going to do here is I'm checking for doneness here, so we're going to go ahead and take a look. Take my meat probe, that one that don't work no more, and what I'm checking for is to see if that meat feels like this probe is a hot knife sliding through butter. And, you know, I'm getting some good feelings all the way around. That probe's got a little bit of resistance, but not much. I think these things are done. 6 hours on some beef ribs on the Pit Boss Austin XL. I got a few other things going on here. If you want to see a video on how I do potatoes, how I do corn, let me know in the comments down below. We're going to get these beef ribs inside and see what we got. Alright, so here we are, back inside. We're about to take a look at those beef ribs that we got cooked up out there on the Pit Boss Austin XL. These babies are going to be alright. Just going to go ahead and grab them out of the pan here. Just go ahead and set them down there and let you kind of get a look at them. Kind of see what you're working with. You can see that that bone really starting to show out on that one side. And that one bone it decided to show through on the other side. So, you know, it's just the way it goes sometimes. Not all the time does the meat shrink up the same way, but we've got good bone showing in these ribs, so I can tell that they're going to be good. Like I said, they were on there for about 6 hours. We're going to go ahead and slice into it here and kind of see what we're working with on these ribs. Now I don't even know if I needed a knife, to be honest with you. We got them babies all sliced up. This is kind of what you're looking at. You've got a real nice smoke ring right here around the ribs. You can tell that they're super juicy. I mean, these babies are gonna just be amazing. So, you know, we've got this other one here. It's wanting to kind of fall off the bone. You know, we could just go ahead and just peel that bone on out You know, if that's the way you like your ribs, you just go ahead and cook them till that bone falls out. You know, this is what we've got today. Beef ribs out there on the pellet smoker. That also next deal that did work. These beef ribs look like something that anybody'd eat. That crust is good, the meat looks good, the smoke ring looks good. Everything about these ribs look good. So if you haven't already, hit the subscribe button, punch the like button. This is what we do all the time. Grilling and smoking, smoking and grilling, stuff you can do in your backyard.